Hey, what's up? I'm back finally to talk about some John D. Macdonald books I read. Give a little life update, maybe. Anyway, here's Mr. D. Macdonald. I'm reading his. I read a few of his different books. Read a couple in the Travis McGee series, which are. I vastly prefer his standalone novels, and there's thousands of them. He's an incredible writer. I think I've talked about him before, probably many people have otherwise, but I am rereading through the whole Travis McGee series, pretty far into it now. There's 21 books, and I think I've got about six or seven to go. I read the Turquoise Lament. Is this going to come in clear? Um, I'm not going to show the new covers. They're just ugly. Obviously, I'm reading the new ebooks. This is a while ago. I'm really backed up on stuff that I've read that I want to talk about, but um, haven't got to. I'll be leaving this location here tomorrow. Then I read so the Turquoise Lament came out in '73. This is the next one in this series, The Dreadful Lemon Sky, 1974, and this was fantastic. It is, I think this is about the time that these Travis McGee books started coming out as instant bestsellers. It was always a strong selling series, but this is when it really started to hit the bestseller list. This was in 1974. It's really a step up in quality. Not that the other books are bad, but it's just a really involved, well plotted story. I think he was starting to slow down a bit in his pace. I think he was starting to make enough money so that he could take his time with books. But there's so many great books that he wrote. Then there's a 4 year gap between The Dreadful Lemon Sky, which, like I said, is one of his first bestsellers, I think. And then there's 4 year wait till the next one, The Empty Copper Sea, and this is when he really started to take off. This one, by this time, I even remember these as a kid. This came out in '78, so it's a 4 year break. I haven't reread this one yet, but I remember it from when I was in high school, and he was like Stephen King at this time, in the sense that his books, or who would it be, Tom Clancy or somebody, when his books would immediately come out on the bestseller list, there would immediately be write-ups and profiles in like magazines like People and Parade and stuff like that everybody used to read. So I'm looking forward to that. I am going to take a little bit of a break because I believe there's only about five left. I'm going to read them in a run at some point when I get around to it. But um, this was probably one of the first editions, Coast to Coast bestseller. There it says. Then I went back and read. Uh, let's see if I got a better title. I read this one. This is early collection by his, and this is one of the hideous, ugly um, ebook covers that they've licensed out to do to some publisher who barely cares. These kind of uniform covers. Really, if you look at his books on Amazon or wherever now, they do a great job, and they handle the Travis McGee books seriously, and cool professional looking covers and stuff. And this isn't even the right aspect ratio for a book cover. Uh, this is how it looked originally when it would come out, or one of the earlier editions. This has maybe a dozen stories in it. They're terrific. It really gives you the range of John D. MacDonald's uh, taste and style and passions. It's much wider. He had a much wider, what do you call it, body of work than people remember today, because people mostly think of him as the author of Travis McGee, which is great. I'm glad of that. But his standalone mysteries are great. He wrote a number of other types of stories too, which are sadly somewhat forgotten. He wrote three science fiction novels, A Ballroom of Skies, another one I can't remember right now. Those he wrote pretty early. Then a little bit later in his career, He wrote a book that some people remember because of the TV movie that starred the guy from Airplane, the Robert, what's his name? Anyway, The Girl, the Goal, Watching Everything, which is about a guy who comes gets a hold of a watch, a stopwatch, or like a pocket watch that can stop time, and it's very well done. It's kind of a romantic comedy, as well as a science fiction novel about stopping time. And he wrote a book that was about a traffic. I can't remember the name of it. It's about a massive traffic jam. It's sort of an homage or a takeoff on the B. Traven novel, Bridget Sandler's Ray. And reading the stories on the end of the tiger, you really think the only person you can. There's some excellent stories. There's a couple of stories that involve animals in here. One of them is the end of the tiger. Is that the one? The first story in there is an excellent kind of twist story that people still like to read. People who don't even like short stories that much. I'm sorry, I don't have the list of titles here. Maybe I should stop and get it, but I'm not gonna. Because if you like short stories, you'd be interested in reading Into the Tiger. The first one's like a crime twist story, which is very well done. There's a couple animal focused stories. This amazing story about a bear. I think it's called. I'm gonna look at the titles. Oh, the story I was thinking of is called The Bear Trap, which is a really complex narrative story. If it reminded me of anything, it reminded me of uh, um, Flannery O'Connor, and but his overall, I don't think it's. I'm being too hyperbolic to say that at his best, John D. Macdonald gave John O'Hara a run for his money with short stories and with novels too. And I think if you read this book, I highly encourage you to read End of the Tiger. It's available pretty cheap on Amazon as an ebook. Um, and read through those stories. You're going to find a mix of crime stories and family stories, relationship stories that I think would back me up. I'd be interested if anybody does read them, especially the story The Bear Trap. Hangover is a really good, gripping story. It's very much like a John O'Hara story in its background and milieu. You know, if you're you could also think of the show Mad Men or something like that. It's got a great twist at the end, though. Um, what's another good one? There's really good ones in here. I think you'll enjoy most of them. I would, and the Straw Witch was a really kind of bizarre story. And there's one more. Louis Followed Me. I think is the one about is that the one about the duck? The family with the duck or the swan or the goose. I mean, they have a pet goose, and something very interesting happens. So give that one a shot. I say. If you trust my recommendations in anything, and if you're at all interested in short stories, what else? I've got a couple more to read by him right now. I lost my pictures page. Um, I'm looking forward to reading. I've already bought this. I want to read it. I think I'll wait till I finish the rest of the McGee novels, which is from Stark House, from the publisher Stark House. It's an autobiography of James of Macdonald. I don't know if there's any others, but I'm looking forward to that. Right now, I'm about to start Bordertown Girl. Again, there's a modern, just generic cover that's ugly, but there's this cool cover of it. It's two novellas. They try to disguise that a bit by calling it Bordertown Girl, a novel on Amazon now. But it's two short novels. It's my favorite kind of old book to read. I love novella length books, so it's like you get a bonus book. It's Bordertown Girl is the first one, and the other one I think is called Linda, just the name Linda, who I guess is a girl who lives someplace else but the border. We'll find out. I'll talk about it sometime. And then I'll be going on to. Can I get anything else off here? I read these. It's Kevin Toll reads talked about this collection by Jeffrey Deaver. I'd never read Deaver before. I enjoyed these stories a lot. I read them before the John D. Macdonald one, and I think if you like the stories in this, Deaver is definitely like stories got to have a twist. Uh, McDonald's stories aren't all like that. Some of them have twists, some don't. But anyway, any other story collections I read recently? I read Brian Aldiss's first story collection from the 50s. I read a reissue of that. That's not again not the cover. That was not bad. I think he gets better. I've got a full collection of all stories from the 60s. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Let's see what else we got here I can talk about. Knock some stuff off. Um, mm, this I, this was not my favorite Philip K. Dick novel. That's a pretty cool old cover though. It looks kind of like Isaac Asimov there, doesn't it? This is probably a Kelly Frias cover, I'm guessing, from a Ace, Ace symbol. I think I had one other cover of that. I think. Oh, this is from his side of the book from Ace Double. There, kind of a messy, convoluted cover. Since I read this, it was not my favorite Philip K. Dick book. Maybe I'm over it on Philip K. Dick. Probably not. It's just not one that's really talked about much anymore. But I don't believe I'd ever read it before, so I thought I'd give it a try. It's interesting that there's kind of a cult in it, which uh, wondering now in retrospect if it was partially inspired by Scientology. Uh, I'd have to look at the year it was written, though. I read that book recently about Astounding Magazine, about the history of Astounding Magazine, and Asimov, Heinlein, the editor, John W. Campbell, and also Hubbard, who was popular, who was one of the main authors in Astounding Magazine, and of course Scientology started out in Scientology Magazine with the first edition of Dianetics, and so there was that cultish pseudo religion kind of thing starting up in the 50s around science fiction. I wonder if just speculating whether Dick was slightly inspired by it to write this book. It's about a guy who can see the future absolutely, uses it to start a cult. Didn't really have that big of an impression on me, although after looking it up, after reading it, I noticed there's some kind of uh, TV Netflix thing coming about it. The World Jones Made. Um, I think it might be actually a World Jones Made Netflix. I think it might be a German series or something. Uh, there's no specific. Oh, ChatGPT caught me. I clicked on the first. I mean, AI caught me. I clicked on the first link, of course, and I have to read a whole story from Chat GPT or AI. That's not what I was looking for because I didn't. Although sometimes it can help with the information if you have a kind of a confusing question to ask or a very limited question. But then you just have it doesn't really save any time because once you get an AI response, you have to go back and check everything to make sure that it's accurate. Excellent. That's good. Okay, it's a there is a Netflix series coming. It's called The Future Is Ours. Uh, oh, I think it's. Oh, okay. I might watch this anyway because the Spanish series, not Spanish. It's a Spanish language series. It looks like a yeah. It's like a co-production of a bunch of different covers because all these actors are from Argentina, Mexico, Uruguay, and the team that made it did this other well-known. The Eternonaut. This is the same group that did The Eternonaut, which is a well-known science fiction, well-known Argentine science fiction graphic novel from years ago that was recently turned into a movie. But it's in Spanish, so none of you guys are going to watch it. So anyway, Um, there might be a dubbed version, but I don't know if you watch that. So let's call it here. Um, I'm in Montevideo, Uruguay. I'm leaving to another be in Airbnb tomorrow because I can't leave the country quite yet. I had to wait for better flight prices and stuff and get things together. So I kind of wanted to leave tomorrow. I go to my next destination, next country, but I decided it was made sense to stay for a couple more weeks, even though I'll probably break even spending more money here to live than there. But but not overpaying for the flight. On February 3rd, I'll be flying to Cuenca, Ecuador. Cuenca, Ecuador. And I'm going to look for a school to go to there, a Spanish school for, like a period. I don't know how to have different length programs, 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever. I've got it booked into a place for a couple months already. Much more affordable than where I am now. Uh, more temperate, uh, more temperate climate. Although it hasn't been that bad here. There's some days get up to 90, but it's usually about 80 or something. I'm sure you're all crying in sympathy now that you're all up there. Most people watching this are up there freezing their butts off in North America. Um, but Cuenca, the city of Cuenca in Ecuador is about 3 degrees south of the equator, which goes straight right through Quito, the capital of the country. And so I'll still be in the southern hemisphere. Be my second country visit in the southern hemisphere, and that's where I plan to stay for a while. Temperature looks like, sounds like it's probably comparable to Seattle. It rains a lot, uh, more than here, more than other places I've been. It rains. It's high elevation. Some people have trouble with that. We'll have to see if that affects me or not. Probably not, because I grew up in a high elevation, although I've been mostly living in sea level. Um, So that's the life update. I don't know why I haven't been doing that many videos. Just each time I get to a new country and that I want to spend more time exploring, it takes me a while to settle down and do the video thing. So anyway, if you're sticking in with this channel, I thanks very much. Drop me a like or comment to know that there's still people out there watching this, and I'll talk to you soon.